What if I told you that the most famous missing child case of the 21st century involves evidence that doesn't add up, witness testimonies that contradict each other, and investigative decisions that have been questioned by experts worldwide? The disappearance of Madeleine McCann isn't just a tragic story. It's a complex web of unanswered questions that has divided public opinion and spawned countless theories. From the initial police response to the recent developments in the case, there are details that will shock you and inconsistencies that will leave you wondering what really happened. We're about to uncover the facts that mainstream media often glosses over and examine why this case remains unsolved after more than a decade.
All I can say is how much that I love Madeleine. We both love our children dearly.
But before we dive in, some of the details in this story are disturbing and may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. As always, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the channel. All right, let's dive into the video.
Much greater than we could ever possibly have imagined, and we've had a huge amount of public support.
To understand the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, we need to go back to the beginning. May 3rd, 2007, the final night of a family holiday that would end in tragedy. Jerry and Kate McCann, both doctors from Leicester, England, were vacationing with their 3 children. Madeleine, just shy of her 4th birthday, and her 2-year-old twins, Amelie and Sean. They were staying at apartment 5A in the Ocean Club, a sprawling resort popular with British families. The Algarve was a haven, a place to unwind, and the McCanns were joined by 7 friends, a group later dubbed the Tapa 7 by the press, fellow professionals, mostly doctors, sharing a week of relaxation. The evening started like any other. The adults gathered at the resort's tapas restaurant, about 50 meters from their apartments, nestled by the pool. The children were asleep in their rooms, and the group agreed to assist them. Every half hour, one parent would check on the kids. It was a routine they'd followed all week, a compromise between enjoying adult time and ensuring the children's safety. But routine can dull the senses, breed a false sense of security. And in Praia da Luz, that security was about to shatter. Apartment 5A was vulnerable. The patio doors leading to a small garden and a public street were left unlocked for easy access during the checks. The front door, facing a car park, was locked, but the apartment's ground floor location made it accessible to anyone passing by. Madeleine shared a bedroom with her twins, her bed positioned near a window that looked out onto the street. The last confirmed check was at 9 p.m. when Jerry McCann entered the apartment. He saw Madeleine asleep, her favorite toy, a pink stuffed cat named Cuddle Cat, clutched in her arms. Everything was calm, normal. But normal is a fragile thing. At 10 p.m., Kate McCann went to check. What she found would change everything. The bedroom door was ajar, the window open, the shutters raised. Madeleine's bed was empty. Kate's scream tore through the night. Madeleine's gone. Someone's taken her. Panic erupted. The Tapa 7 rushed to the apartment, searching every corner, every closet. Resort staff joined in, scouring the grounds, the pool area, and the nearby streets. But Madeleine was gone, as if she'd vanished into thin air. The clock was ticking, and the nightmare had begun. The Portuguese police, the Polícia Judiciária, were called around 10:40 p.m., but the response was sluggish. Language barriers, a small local force, and a lack of immediate protocols slowed the process. No roadblocks were set up, no immediate searches of nearby homes. The crime scene was already compromised. Dozens of people had entered apartment 5A, desperate to help. By morning, Praia da Luz was a media circus, and Madeleine's face was everywhere. But the question remained, where was she?
The only focus is trying to find Madeleine, and there's an innocent child.
The hours after Madeleine's disappearance were chaotic. The Polícia Judiciária, under pressure and under-resourced, struggled to secure the scene. Footprints, fingerprints, potential evidence, all were lost in the stampede of well-meaning searchers. Meanwhile, the McCanns acted fast, leveraging their media savvy to spread the word. Madeleine's photo, Those haunting eyes became a global symbol. Posters appeared in airports, train stations, and supermarkets. The Find Madeleine campaign was born, fueled by a £2.5 million fund from donations and high-profile supporters like J.K. Rowling and Richard Branson. But the investigation was unraveling. The Portuguese police faced criticism for their handling of the case. No Amber Alert system existed in Portugal, and the initial response lacked urgency. Witnesses were interviewed haphazardly, and potential leads, like a reported sighting of a man carrying a child near the resort, were not pursued aggressively. The McCanns, desperate for action, hired private investigators and pushed for international help. But this only deepened tensions with the police, who felt undermined. In mid-May, suspicion fell on Robert Murat, a British expat living 100 meters from the Ocean Club. Witnesses claimed he was acting oddly, offering to translate for police while seeming overly involved. His home was searched, his computer seized, but no evidence linked him to Madeleine. He was cleared, but the media frenzy around him set a pattern. Every lead, every suspect, became a headline. And then, the focus shifted to the McCanns themselves. In August 2007, British cadaver dogs Eddie and Keela were brought to Praia da Luz. Eddie, trained to detect human remains, alerted to the scent of death behind a couch in apartment 5A and in the McCann's rental car, used weeks after the disappearance. Keela, a blood detection dog, signaled traces in the same areas. The findings were explosive. DNA samples were sent to a British lab, but the results were inconclusive. No definitive link to Madeleine. Yet in September, Kate and Jerry were named arguidos, or formal suspects, by the Portuguese police. Their statements, the dogs, the media pressure, it all pointed to a narrative that was hard to shake. The McCanns denied any involvement, calling the dog evidence unreliable. Forensic experts later backed them up, noting that cadaver dogs can be influenced by false positives. By July 2008, their arguido status was lifted, but the damage was done. Public opinion split. Some saw them as grieving parents, others as negligent or worse. The media fed the divide, publishing lurid stories about sedation, cover-ups, and conspiracies. And through it all, Madeleine remained missing. This is where the case becomes more than a mystery. It becomes a mirror. The investigation wasn't just about finding Madeleine. It was about who we blame, who we trust, and how we process grief. The McCanns were caught in a storm, their every move dissected. But the real question lingered. What happened to their daughter? To answer that, we need to explore the theories that have haunted this case for nearly 2 decades.
Madeleine's doesn't have. These are actually the pyjamas that Madeleine was wearing when she was taken.
Before we continue on, if you are enjoying the video so far, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments. Your support truly means everything. All right, back to the video.
They are parents who have lost their daughter, and we're doing all that we can to bring resolution for them.
The disappearance of Madeleine McCann is a puzzle with too many pieces and no clear picture. Over the years, theories have multiplied, each one a lens through which people try to make sense of the unthinkable. Let's walk through the 5 main ones, not to sensationalize, but to understand what might have happened that night in Praia da Luz. Each theory has its advocates, its flaws, and its ghosts. The most divisive theory comes from Goncalo Amaral, the lead detective in the early investigation. In his 2008 book, The Truth of the Lie, he argues Madeleine died in apartment 5A, likely an accident, and her parents concealed it. The evidence? The cadaver dog alerts, inconsistencies in the Tapas 7's timelines, and Kate's diary, which some interpret as emotionally distant. The sedation hypothesis is central. As doctors, the McCanns might have given Madeleine a sedative to help her sleep, leading to an overdose or allergic reaction. Amaral suggests they hid her body, possibly in the rental car, before disposing of it. This theory has traction because it explains the lack of a body in the open window, which could have been staged. Supporters point to Kate's refusal to answer 48 police questions as suspicious, though she later said it was on legal advice. But there's a problem. No concrete evidence supports this. The DNA was inconclusive, and the logistics of a cover-up are staggering. Could two parents in a foreign country hide a body, act normal at dinner, and sustain a global campaign without cracking? Sky News' Martin Brunt called it almost unimaginable. Yet the theory lingers, fueled by distrust and the media's relentless scrutiny.
Over that.
You know, I can persecute myself every day about that, and I feel awful.
Praia da Luz wasn't as safe as it seemed. In early 2007, burglaries spiked in the area, often targeting holiday homes. The theory goes that an intruder entered apartment 5A through the unlocked patio doors, intending to steal. Madeleine woke up, startled them, and they took her to avoid capture. The open window could have been a hasty exit or a distraction. Local police noted several unsolved break-ins nearby, and the McCann's apartment was an easy target. But here's the issue. Abducting a child is high risk, high effort. A burglar would likely flee, not take a witness. No fingerprints, DNA, or stolen items were found, and the Tapas 7's checks would have made the timing tight. Martin Brunt described it as plausible but unlikely, given the lack of trace evidence. Still, the theory persists, rooted in the area's crime trends and the apartment's vulnerability.
We've tried hard to do is focus on what can still be done to find Madeleine.
What if Madeleine wasn't taken? What if she woke up, wandered out through the patio doors, and met a tragic fate? Praia da Luz was dotted with hazards, construction sites, drainage ditches, even a nearby beach. Some compare this to the case of Ben Needham, a British toddler who vanished in Greece in 1991, possibly killed in a construction accident. Madeleine could have fallen, drowned, or been hit by a car in the dark. This theory explains the lack of evidence, no struggle, no witnesses, but it falters on the open window and raised shutters, which suggests someone entered or staged the scene. No body was ever found despite extensive searches, and Madeleine, at 3, was unlikely to wander far alone. Still, the idea of a simple, heartbreaking accident resonates with those who see the other theories as too complex.
Making a Spanish TV appearance to plead for help.
If you have seen this little girl...
The Algarve wasn't always a safe haven. Between 2004 and 2006, several British children reported assaults in their holiday homes, some disturbingly close to Praia da Luz. Witnesses in 2007 described a man loitering near apartment 5 a days before Madeleine vanished. This theory suggests a predator, someone watching, waiting, planning. Enter Christian Bruckner, named in 2020 as the prime suspect. A German drifter with a history of sexual offenses against children, Bruckner lived in the Algarve from 1995 to 2007. His phone records place him near Praia da Luz that night, and his past includes burglaries and chilling writings about kidnapping children. Bruckner feels like the strongest lead yet, but there's no smoking gun, no DNA, no confession. The Guardian reported in 2023 that searches of a Portuguese reservoir tied to Bruckner yielded nothing conclusive. Still, his profile, opportunistic, predatory, fits the unsettling pattern of crimes in the region.
And that was the first time where, I guess, a panic kicked in.
The most chilling theory is that Madeleine was taken by a trafficking ring. Private investigators hired by the McCanns in 2007 claimed spotters were active in Praia da Luz, targeting children for smuggling to Morocco, just a ferry ride away. The McCann's spokesperson, Clarence Mitchell, called this the most credible scenario. A professional operation would explain the lack of evidence. No prints, no witnesses, no body. Sightings of a girl resembling Madeleine in Morocco fueled speculation, though none were confirmed. But trafficking is hard to prove. It requires organization, motive, and a buyer, none of which have surfaced. The theory thrives on the absence of evidence rather than its presence, making it both compelling and frustratingly elusive. These theories are like pieces of a shattered mirror. Each reflects a fragment of the truth, but none completes the picture. The parental theory fuels outrage. The burglary theory feels grounded. The accident theory is tragically simple. The predator theory is terrifyingly plausible. And the trafficking theory is a descent into the darkest corners of human possibility. What unites them is the void at their center, the absence of Madeleine. And that void has driven a phenomenon unlike any other.
The last major search for Madeleine was in 2023 off a tip from German police about Bruckner.
Madeleine McCann's disappearance didn't just break a family, it broke the world's heart. The McCann's media campaign was a masterclass in visibility. Within days, Madeleine's image was inescapable. On CNN, BBC, every major outlet. The Find Madeleine Fund raised millions, supported by celebrities and everyday people alike. The McCanns met with world leaders, from the Pope to Gordon Brown, pleading for help. Their website, findmadeleine.com, became a hub for tips and donations still active today. But fame came at a cost. The British media, especially the tabloids, turned on the McCanns. Their decision to leave the children alone was vilified. How could doctors be so reckless? Screamed the headlines. Class and privilege became flashpoints. Would a working-class family have faced the same scrutiny? The Daily Mail ran stories questioning Kate's emotional displays, calling her cold or calculated. The McCanns sued multiple outlets for libel, winning settlements, but the narrative was set. They were as much suspects as victims. The case became a cultural juggernaut. Books like Amaral The Truth of the Lie sold thousands, despite being banned in the UK after a McCann lawsuit. The Netflix documentary, released in 2019, drew millions of viewers, but faced criticism for rehashing old theories without new insights. The McCanns refused to participate, wary of exploitation. Podcasts, YouTube videos, and forums dissected every detail, from the shutters to the dogs. The internet has become a battleground, with users debating theories and sharing unverified sightings. Some claiming Madeleine was alive in Australia, others pointing to grainy photos from Morocco. Why does this case endure? Maybe because Madeleine feels like everyone's child, a symbol of vulnerability in a world we want to believe is safe. Maybe because the mystery feeds our need for answers, even when they hurt. But there's a darker side. True crime at its worst turns pain into entertainment. As storytellers, we have to ask, are we seeking truth or chasing shadows? The McCanns live with that question every day. And in 2020, a new shadow emerged, one that brought hope and heartbreak all over again.
I guess I was looking at Madeleine's bed and I couldn't make her out. And then I realised actually...
On June 3, 2020, the case took a dramatic turn. German authorities named Christian Bruckner, a 43-year-old drifter, as the prime suspect in Madeleine's disappearance. Bruckner wasn't a new name to police. He'd been on their radar for years, but now the spotlight was on him. A convicted sex offender with a history of targeting children, he lived in the Algarve between 1995 and 2007, often in a farmhouse near Praia da Luz. His rap sheet included burglaries, assaults, and disturbing writings about kidnapping and harming children, uncovered in a 2023 documentary. Phone records place Bruckner in Praia da Luz the night Madeleine vanished, receiving a call at 7:30 p.m. just a kilometer from the Ocean Club. Witnesses recalled a man matching his description, a tall, blonde German, lurking near apartment 5A. In May 2023, police searched a reservoir he frequented, hoping for a breakthrough. Items were found, clothing, a bag, but nothing tied directly to Madeleine. Bruckner, now in prison for unrelated crimes, denies involvement. German prosecutors say they have concrete evidence but won't reveal it until charges are filed. Bruckner is the closest thing to a resolution this case has seen in years. His profile, opportunistic, predatory, familiar with the area, fits the nightmare scenario. But without a confession or hard evidence, he's just another piece of the puzzle. The reservoir search, the phone records, the stories he wrote, they tantalize, but they don't answer the question, where is Madeleine?
Raise awareness of when kids disappear, what you should do, as a parent.
For 18 years. That's how long the world has searched for Madeleine McCann. 18 years of leads that went nowhere, theories that collapsed under scrutiny, and a family left to carry an unimaginable weight. Kate and Jerry McCann still run their campaign, still cling to hope that Madeleine is alive, perhaps living under a new identity, unaware of her past. She'd be 21 now, a young woman with dreams, passions, a life. Instead, she's frozen in time, forever the little girl with the pink stuffed cat. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, the only thing scarier than this story is missing out on our next video.